Hey everybody, and welcome back to our second episode. This time it's a little bit different, so if you want to continue to follow along, I advise downloading a program called Blender. And once you've downloaded and you click on the icon, it'll open up to this. Just a simple square in the middle of your process. What you want to do is, well, what I always do anyway, is bring the square up. So it's what I like to call the floor, or your grid, but I call it my floor. Bring it to the level of your floor, and we're gonna keep this square. We're gonna click into edit mode. Now, what I want to do is click onto the move. I'm actually just going to make sure we are aligned, because last time I cut off a lot of stuff. So I do want to apologise for that as well. I'll try and make sure that doesn't happen again in any future videos. So we've got now a flat kind of, looks like a slab. This is our floor. And you can do that literally just by pulling the move down. I also probably should explain, so when we were on a square, it looked like this. Up here you've got, so the best way to explain this is I could click on any point of my square, any corner, oh god, using this. With this one, I can kind of catch the whole side of the square. I'm just going to click Control Z to go back to the original pose. Is that? Yeah. But if I click on this one, it selects the whole face, which is how I did that. So whereas it was like this, I just clicked on the top, and using this blue blue arrow, I bring it down. So we've got a lovely flat square looking kind of floor. Now my player is going to be running around on top of this. This is, as I said, this is our floor. So I need to make sure that there's enough space for the player to run around and for it to make it feel, well, for it to feel almost correct for the player. So in order to do that, I'm going to drag this out, and I'm going to make it 4 wide on that side, and I'm going to make it 4 wide on that side, so you should have 8 squares. The player normally takes up around about, I will say it comes in around about the 4 square mark. So the next thing we want to do now is drag out our floor. I'm going to make it slightly longer. What have we got? 3, 4, 10, 12, 13, 14. I think, yeah, 14 by 8 is, what should I do, 14 by 16? Yeah, I'll do 14 by 16. So we've got kind of like a longish sort of room. Now this is only going to be one room. The reason for that is when the player, so thinking of the game itself, we want the player to kind of wake up in a room and only have one direction to go in to begin with. We want that player to kind of feel like it's on a almost linear path. So I didn't actually show you what I did there. I just kind of went ahead with it. So we've got our shape. If you hold down Control and press R, it creates a loop cut, and it will create this in the middle of your shape, wherever it is, whatever the shape is, so to say. Now you don't have to copy me here. If you are using Blender, you can obviously create your own shape, create your own room. I mean, you might have a totally different idea that you want to create compared to me. So pressing Control R will bring this up, click once, and it will allow you to move that line where you want it to be. So as you probably saw just a second ago, I moved it to probably about there. Make another one and put it on the other side. just there. Now click Control R again. It will either make you do this one, but if I bring my mouse up to this side, it'll let me do one on the other vertices. So click again, bring it down, and we'll put one there. And one more time, we're going to do this. Okay. So put it about that's fine. It doesn't matter too much. The player won't ever notice completely because it's only one room and there'll be a door. They'll just get teleported out. They'll never really notice whether there's any sort of thickness issues. As long as you're happy with it and you've got enough space for your player to run around in, then it should be okay. So we're going to bring that up. We're going to bring it quite high to about there, and then you can see we've got a relatively nice sized room. Now you can, if you want to, I'll show you now, you can download the mannequin that you use to run your character around, the character we saw running around. You can download an FBX version of that. So if you go to File and Export and go to Import and go to FBX, you can see in my save files I've got the SK_ mannequin. So click on that and then click at the top right here, Import, and it'll bring it in for me. Now the reason this is useful is because it'll save you a lot of time dragging this mesh into Unreal to test how big you want your door, and then you've got to remember measurements and things like that. So what makes it easier is if you just bring him up so he's level with your floor, to about there, and then what you want to do is make sure you're in object mode, obviously, and then we're going to go Shift A, Shift A, go to Mesh and go to Cube. Then you want to bring that just behind him, so it's in the wall, and bring this up to where your floor is. It should be just about right. Now his arms will always come out a little bit further. They'll never actually be out like this in the game, so don't fret too much. So go into, obviously, go back. So with your square, your cube, should save him, selected, go to object mode. Click on this wall and bring it in a bit, and then we're going to click on this side as well and bring it in a bit further. Now I'm quite happy with the height. The reason is I always like to leave a little bit extra room, just to make it feel like you're not being kind of crammed through a doorway when the camera goes through. So I always make them slightly bigger. You'll notice this actually in a lot of other games. I've noticed it in things like Hitman especially, where they make the doors extra large. Just so, because obviously playing third person, the camera goes through nicely and it doesn't kind of jitter or get stuck and things like that. You probably noticed that with a lot of more older games before that was a thing. So we've got our door wedge, I'll call it our door wedge, in place. With it selected, I'm also going to rename it just because it makes my life easier. I'm going to call it door wedge, like that. Now we're going to go back into object mode. Now we want to select our room, and what we're going to do is now the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to create a separate door mesh. Even though we're not actually going to be able to open the door, it's just going to transform us into the next room or the next level. If you're going to do a door opening, you wanted the door to open, swing open, whatever, and you're actually going to reload in your area here, what you would do is you would do exactly what I'm going to do now. Some people will just design the door in there and then just put in a trigger box, but I actually like to keep the mesh somewhat separate for texturing. So you go, so click on, make sure you're in object mode, and make sure you've clicked on this. You go to context, I believe, context, and then you're going to go to add a modifier, and you're going to add a boolean. Once that boolean is selected, you're going to click into object, and you're going to click our door wedge. Now you'll notice it's changed slightly. It's kind of almost gone transparent. If you click apply, once you're happy with where the door wedge is, or where the actual door is. I should probably make sure this is definitely lined up correctly. Yeah, I think that's okay. Click apply. That will disappear, and then if you move the door, you've now got a lovely little door space ready for your character to enter and exit from. Now we want this area to be slightly darker. We want to use mainly our lights to illuminate the area. I also think we should probably create one more loop cut, I think, if we can. I need to go to edit mode. Create another loop cut. Bring it to about, I'd say, bring it to about there. I think that's going to be good enough. I'm going to create a secondary loop cut there as well, because what will happen is it will disform your shape if you don't put one in. Go back to face mode and click on that, and we're just going to extrude out just about, I think probably just about there. I also want to give it a little bit of detail, so I'm just going to no, I'm not going to do that yet, sorry, I Control Z that. What we're going to do is we are going to create a ramp, just a ramp, just to make it look a bit nicer. You want to be careful about how many loop cuts you're putting into your scene, because the more you put in, the worse it will look if you put too many in, and it'll be harder to texture as well, and unwrap, which we'll see in a minute. I've just realised what I've done, sorry. I want to put one more in there, about there, and then I want to grab that, bring that down. So as you can see, it's now made a little ramp for the player to walk up and around. Now what I'm going to do, just to give a little bit extra detail, is bring that in like that, and I'm going to select these two faces. If you hold down Shift and then click another one, it'll keep that there for you. And I'm just going to move that in. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, because I want to create one more loop cut. Again, as you saw there, this this line here forced inwards, and you didn't get that nice rectangle shape that we were hoping for. So I put in one extra loop cut just to allow for that. There we go. So you keep that nice lip looking. Oh, if I go a bit closer, you keep that nice lip just about right. I'm also just going to push this up slightly because I want it to be straight. There you go. Yeah, there we go. You got that lovely lip shape. Right. Okay. So what else can we do to make this look a little bit more interesting? I'm thinking also of putting a window in there at the top. And we also need to do the door. So how long have we got so far? Okay. Right. I'm going to try and keep these videos to around about 15 minutes each, if I can, just so you guys know. Right. So we've put a nice little ramp in there, so that means when the player comes back in, they can walk up and down if they choose, or you could jump. It's completely down to the player. And I think I'm going to put in a couple of pillars just on this side, get some nice shadows going. So to do that, I'm going to click object mode again, and what we're going to do is Shift A, go to mesh, and go down to cylinder. Now this cylinder is pretty big at the moment, but we're going to size it down quite a bit. Let's get it into sort of a nice position. What we're going to do is we're going to scale that down quite a bit. Let's see if we can. No. Right. I think that's a little better. Okay. Let's just move it up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into edit mode, make sure we've got face selected, and we just want to grab that top one and drag it up. Drag it straight up. There we go. Is that it? Again, it doesn't matter because we're going to put a roof on this. If it goes over, it really doesn't matter. The player will never see it. Sorry. What I want to do is I want to go into object mode, and I want to find a relatively decent place for this to go. I think we'll have 3 going on one. Right. Let's Stick another one there, back there, and then we'll copy and paste one more. Stick it there. Let's just make sure they are nice and even. I think that looks about right. Okay, brilliant. Okay, we're going to call it there for this episode, and then in the next episode we're going to finish this mesh off, then we're going to get it into Unreal and go from there. Thank you to those who watched. Obviously don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and obviously if you are interested in heading over to Facebook, following Dead Developers Studio, where you'll find out about our game that's coming out in 2021, and you'll also get all the updates, images of things we're going to be doing via YouTube and our game going forward. So thank you so much guys, take care, and we'll see you on the next tutorial. Take care, bye.